Why do survivors feel guilt for something they didn't choose? Why do they carry shame for what someone else did? Why does walking away sometimes feel like a betrayal of yourself when it should feel like freedom? And in case you're new here, I'm Coach Nia Renee, a narcissistic abuse relationship recovery coach. I help survivors of abuse break free from emotional wounds and build thriving relationships built on intention and self-trust. So let's talk about it. Today, we're talking about the silent burden survivors carry long after the relationship ends. But more importantly, I'm going to walk you through how to release that guilt and transform that shame by reclaiming your power through the 3 S's: self-awareness, self-care, self-love. Because healing isn't just about understanding what happened, it's about coming back home to yourself. When you survive abuse, especially emotional, psychological, or narcissistic abuse, your sense of reality is distorted. You were likely taught to ignore your intuition, downplay your pain, stay quiet to keep the peace, overextend to earn love. Guilt shows up as, I should have known better, I allowed this, I stayed too long. Shame says, this must mean something is wrong with me. I attract this kind of pain. I'm unlovable unless I prove I'm worth it. And self-betrayal is the heartbreaking moment when you realize I abandoned myself just to keep someone else. But here's the truth. That wasn't weakness. That was survival. And survival doesn't need shame. It needs compassion. We live in a culture that glorifies independence but punishes vulnerability. And when someone speaks out about abuse, the questions come fast. Why didn't you just leave? What did you do to provoke it? Are you sure that's what happened? This isn't curiosity, it's control. It sends a message to survivors: your pain is only valid if it makes others comfortable. That culture teaches survivors to silence themselves, reinforces the idea that they chose their pain, blocks access to healing because it replaces empathy with interrogation. You cannot heal while defending your right to speak. So if shame and guilt and self-betrayal are the byproducts of surviving abuse, how did we begin to let them go? How do we stop punishing ourselves for what we didn't cause? We begin the journey home through the 3 S's. They're my favorite: self-awareness, self-love, and self-care. Let's talk about self-awareness. This is the foundation of all healing. You cannot change what you cannot name. Self-awareness is waking up from the survival story and asking, what did I believe about myself that made this behavior feel normal? When did I first learn that love means sacrifice? What did I ignore in myself to keep that connection with them? This isn't self-blame, it's self-honesty. When you become aware of the why behind your patterns, you begin to understand that what you thought was your fault was actual conditioning, programming, trauma. Self-awareness says, my past shaped me, but it does not define me. Self-care. Self-care isn't just bubble baths and journaling. Y'all know this. I say this to you all the time. It is so much more than that. True self-care is about reclaiming your right to tend to your needs without guilt, resting without asking permission, saying no without over-explaining, nourishing your body, your nervous system, your inner child. After abuse, your body is used to being in fight or flight. Your care must meet you there. Regulate your nervous system, set boundaries that honor your peace, prioritize your inner safety over external approval. Every act of self-care is a declaration. I deserve to exist without being in crisis. Self-love is the act of choosing yourself again and again and again. Not when you're perfect, not when you've healed enough, but right now, in your rawness, in your humanness. Self-love says, I forgive myself for not knowing what I know now. I trust my voice even if it shakes. I am not broken, I am rebuilding. This is where you stop waiting for someone to validate your worth. You become the person who sees you, holds you, honors you, not because of what you've been through, but because of who you are becoming. Self-love doesn't erase the past, it rewrites your relationship with yourself moving forward. Healing from abuse is not about becoming a version of yourself that was never hurt. It's about becoming someone who is deeply aware, deeply cared for, and deeply loved by you. Shame dissolves when it's met with truth. Guilt dissolves when it's met with compassion. Self-betrayal dissolves when it's met with consistency. Through self-awareness, you see clearly. Through self-care, you tend gently. Through self-love, you rise fully. This is how you alchemize pain into power. If no one told you this today, let me be the first. You didn't deserve what happened. You didn't betray yourself. You didn't fail because you hurt. You are human. You are healing. You are sacred. And you're not meant to heal alone. If this message spoke to you, let me know in the comments. You've already survived the storm. Now it's time to rebuild the home inside of you.